Hi everyone, I'm Koryn Okey and welcome back to Breezeway Academy. At Breezeway Academy, you'll learn how to build stronger, more professional vacation rental operations. So whether you manage 10 homes or 1,000, this series is here to give you practical frameworks, proven strategies, and real-world best practices that you can apply immediately. At Breezeway, we work with thousands of property managers around the world, and every day we get to see how high-performing operators structure their team, build their workflows, and deliver 5-star stays consistently. But we also see where operations fall short. So in this series, we're focusing on proactive property care and how you can move from constantly reacting to issues to actually preventing them before they happen. Because if you talk to most operations teams in our industry, they're gonna tell you the same thing, and it's that they just feel like they're constantly putting out fires. A maintenance issue comes in, a guest reports an issue, something breaks unexpectedly, and your team is jumping to fix it. That's reactive operations. And while that's sometimes unavoidable, it's not where you wanna spend your time. So in this video, we're gonna break down what proactive property care actually looks like, why most teams get stuck in reactive mode, and we're going to talk about how you can shift your operations step by step so that you can stay ahead of issues instead of constantly chasing them. So let's start by defining the difference. Reactive operations are all about responding to problems as they happen. You're relying on guest complaints, on last-minute discoveries, or on emergency situations to trigger work. And that workload's unpredictable, and your team is constantly adjusting and reprioritizing. On the other hand, proactive operations are all about preventing those problems in the first place. So you're planning ahead, you're scheduling work before you need to, and you're creating processes that allow your team to operate effectively. The difference is simple. Reactive operations are unpredictable and oftentimes very costly, whereas proactive operations are controlled, repeatable, and scalable. And that reactive approach does also come with a cost. Small issues that could have been addressed early turn into larger, more expensive problems. Emergency repairs are often more costly and they're disruptive. So from the guest perspective, those disruptions are creating frustration during their stay, which leads to negative reviews, lower ratings, and in some cases, refunds or compensation. From the owner's perspective, those types of repeated issues can reduce trust in your ability to manage and care for their home. So reactive operations don't just impact your team, they impact profitability, your reputation, and your owner relationships. Okay, so you're probably saying, well, if proactive operations are so much better, why are so many teams still reactive? And it usually comes down to a few key challenges. The first is that there's a lack of visibility. If you don't have a clear view into the condition of your properties, you're relying on issues to surface themselves, which often happens during a guest stay. Second is that there's no structured scheduling outside of reservations. Most teams are very good at scheduling cleans around bookings, but for some, preventative maintenance, inspections, and seasonal work often don't have a system behind them. Third, issues aren't always tracked or followed up on. Something gets noticed, maybe it gets mentioned casually in passing, but it's not formally documented or resolved. And lastly, your teams are busy. When you're dealing with day-to-day operations, it's easy to prioritize what's urgent over what's important. And all of this is going to keep your team stuck in that reactive cycle. So how do you actually make the shift? Well, the first step is going to be recognizing that this isn't just a mindset change, it's a systems change. The truth is that shifting to proactive operations requires a property operations platform like Breezeway that's designed specifically to manage property care. Most operators think that they can do everything in their PMS, but as we learned earlier, a PMS is not a one-stop shop. It is designed to manage reservations. And the reality is that maintaining a home requires work that happens outside of a booking. Preventative maintenance, inspections, and seasonal tasks all need to happen regardless of whether a property is booked or vacant. Once you have the right systems in place, that shift becomes a lot more manageable. The most effective way to think about that shift is going to be into 3 steps, which are visibility, scheduling, and accountability. That first step is knowing what is happening in your properties. So you need a clear understanding of your property condition, the maintenance history, and any recurring problem areas. Without visibility, you're always going to be reacting. With Breezeway, you can centralize this information through our property profiles, our inspection data, and issue tracking. So instead of relying on memory or scattered notes, everything is documented in one place. And that gives you the foundation to start planning ahead. Once you have that visibility, the next step is scheduling, and this is where proactive operations really take shape. Instead of waiting for something to break, you're planning the work ahead. So this includes things like your seasonal maintenance, your routine servicing, your preventative work. And importantly, that work isn't tied to reservations. It's happening year-round based on what the property requires. With Breezeway, you can schedule recurring tasks and build preventative workflows to make sure that these things are happening automatically, not just when someone remembers. And that is what keeps the small issues from becoming big ones. And that final step is accountability. It's not just enough to schedule the work. You need to make sure that it's actually getting done and getting done correctly. So this is going to mean that you're assigning tasks to the right people, you're tracking the progress, and you're verifying completion. With Breezeway, tasks are assigned, they're tracked in real time, and you can include photo verification so that you know exactly what's been done and can see it with your own eyes. This is creating accountability across your entire team, and it ensures that nothing falls through the cracks. When you put these 3 steps together, visibility, scheduling, and accountability, you really start to see real changes in your operations. There are fewer issues that come up during guest stays. There are stronger first impressions. From a guest's perspective, the stay feels smoother and more reliable, and all of that is going to lead to better reviews. From an owner perspective, the property is better maintained and protected, and that builds trust and improves your retention. And from a business perspective, you're reducing costly emergency repairs and creating a more efficient operation. Proactive property care isn't just about doing more work, it's about doing the right work at the right time. So instead of reacting to problems, you're preventing them. Instead of operating in chaos, you're building systems. And those systems are what allow you to deliver high quality stays. Click the link below to book a time with one of our experts to learn how Breezeway can help you get proactive about property care. In our next video, we're going to get more specific and we're going to walk through 10 preventative maintenance tasks that every vacation rental should have in place. Of course, if you have any questions about your current operations or you're running into challenges, drop them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to Breezeway to stay up to date on all things Breezeway Academy. Thanks for watching, and we're going to see you in the next episode.